Good evening. My name is Brian Cloyd, and I want to thank each and every one of you for being here today with us. This has been a long journey, but every step has been a great milestone, and collectively, many steps have led us to this joyous celebration that marks 10 years of providing a unique school design that is impacting the children of the greater Grand Rapids area at Grand Rapids University Prep Academy. Today, we're proud to be able to celebrate a vision that started a decade ago by a group of 7 visionary CEOs committed to offering students and parents more school choices in Grand Rapids Public Schools. With an excitement that engulfed many community members, there was a search for a new, innovative approach to education. From that vision and work, the first Centers of Innovation was formed and designed to foster a public-private educational partnership. Our mission was to graduate 90% of our students, and from that group, get 90% going on to post-secondary education. We're excited that after 5 graduating classes that we've reached and exceeded our goal. So we want to take a second to celebrate that achievement. Before we get started, I'd like to express sincere appreciation to all of you who have generously helped us along this road and those who helped to make this event a success. I'd like to recognize the founding members, the CEO group that joined us. And in addition to that, there are a couple other people that I'd like to call out, Milt Rohr and Nancy Hickey, who were our sidekicks as we were going through this process. Thank you, Milt and Nancy, who are here tonight. Next is what we call the Grand Rapids University Prep Association. Our board members, most of who are here tonight, if you could raise your hand. I see several of you. Thank you. My guardian angel, Teresa Weatherall Neal, our superintendent, and other Grand Rapids Public School board members. I see Catherine and Raynard and Wendy. I think that's it. Anybody else? Board members, thank you. GRPS officials and staff that are here, welcome. Our committee members and students. Now, the committee members have done a great job. They worked hard all summer long. Ms. Hill and Ms. Radden and Ms. Cottle, Angela O'Brien, who's part of John Kennedy's organization, our development person, Brenda Diefenbach, Faye Richardson. All summer long they worked, and we appreciate it. But the students, that are here, aren't they amazing? You see the list of donors that are scrolling, and although he wasn't here tonight, I think that with the recent passing of Dick DeVos, that Steve Menandel and his wife Amy, had planned to be here, but I imagine that they're tied up with that event. But a special thanks for them for all they've done for us. So thank you all. We really could not do this work alone. And now I get the opportunity to kick off the program this evening. As I've been reflecting on my role over the past decade, tonight is about connecting the pieces, and one of the key pieces that made this school possible, who I'll introduce in a minute, is Daniel Williams. We stole him from Detroit. He was going to be with us for 6 months, and somehow we convinced him to stay for a year. And now it's 10 years and a marriage, 2 kids, PhD, a new job. Maybe he's going to go back to Detroit soon. I don't know. But I want to introduce Dr. Daniel Williams, President, CEO of West Michigan Center for Arts and Technology, and the former principal of University Prep Association. Academy.
How are we feeling tonight? So, Kenyatta Hill was like, you need to send me your speech ahead of time because I want to proofread it. I want to make sure it all flows. I was like, it'll be good, it'll be good. And everything I have written on my paper is exactly what Brian just said. So I'm gonna hear that about it afterwards. But I just, when I reflected, when we were talking about it, she said, talk about the past, like how we got to this point. Can you talk about that? And it immediately, I leapt back in my mind to that sitting with Doug Ross, who was the superintendent at UPrep in Detroit, and him kind of coming and saying, they just want you for 3 months. And I was like, 3 months? He's like, yeah, 3 months. And I was like, where is Grand Rapids? And he said, and he was like, it's great. It's it's the west side of the state. It'll be okay. I don't know. I'll talk to this guy. And just talk to Brian. So I drive over and meet Brian in Lansing, and he said the same thing, and even more persuasive than Doug Ross. And as he said, those 3 months turned to 6, turned to a year, turned to 10 years, and now going into 11 years. And the part that really sits with me and how it turns into 11 years is community. It's this community, this incredible space that exists around us and all of the people in this room and everything that's happening. And this school doesn't exist without that community, right? This community is about the board members who are just some of the most dedicated people. These are people who've been on this board now for 10, 11 years, going through the ups and downs and making sure that this thing's going to happen. It's going to be successful for kids and for families. It's incredible. This community has created incredible support at the district level with Teresa Weatherall-Neal and people like Ron Gorman and John Himholt, who just have supported and fought tirelessly for kids over and over and over again. And the staff, over 10 years of just the most incredible staff and support folks who come every day and work so hard to make sure that every single person, whether it's a student or a family member, walks through the doors of that building right over there, that they feel loved and that they feel cared for and that they know that someone's in their corner. And they do that every single day, day in and day out. And that's the community that we have. That's the community that's been built. And that's been built from all of you here in supporting that. And so as we started, that starting point was the 90-90. So at least 90% graduation, at least 90% going on to some post-secondary. And you said we surpassed it, but we also need to say, not only have we surpassed it, we've had 100% of our graduates have been accepted to post-secondary every single year. And so you're asking yourself, like, well, how did that happen? And I'm glad you asked that question, because how it happens is things like, and I didn't know all this was going to be here, but it's like a setup. So exhibitions, talk to the students and talk about exhibitions, focusing instead on the process and not just what the end product is, but really pushing for students and for their families to zero in on how did I get there? What choices did I make? If it didn't work, that's okay if I can explain why it didn't work and what I'll do next time. That process is so important. Narratives, it's not just about a grade, it's about what's behind the grade and how you get there. And place-based education and making sure that our kids are getting out into the community and doing internships and working and going to the YMCA for PE and doing job shadowing, and all those types of things help to create a space where kids understand the breadth of what's out there and understand what the steps need to be in order to take to reach that. And so that happens with just a relentless commitment to every student's success. So 5 years ago, we had just moved into the new building. It's brilliant design to be able to see UPrep right there. I keep looking at it, but we moved into that building 5 years ago. And some of you know I'm like mildly obsessed with the Jesuits and like the way they think about things. And they have this term, they say, go forth and set the world on fire. And that just was really stuck with me, and it really stood out. And I was talking to my brother who's a firefighter, and he And he's like, oh yeah, it's kind of like, we've got this thing we talk about when a fire, it's a term that's called fully involved. And it's when a fire burns so hot and it burns so bright that the thing that's next to it, not even touching the fire, but the thing that's next to it also catches on fire, just because it's burning so hot. And so we talked about that as a staff. And that, to me, is what makes this thing work. That's what makes this community unique. That's what makes those numbers happen. It's not just sitting by and saying, like, oh, I hope we do this. It's working every day, teachers getting up every day and saying, no matter what, we're gonna work relentlessly with this commitment to every student's success. And it's about burning so bright in that everyone who just comes around, who walks near the school, who goes into the school, or comes in contact with anyone who's affiliated with the school, can't help but also be on fire for University Prep. So as we move into this next phase, where we're talking about the present, and more importantly, where we're going into the future, I hope that all of you can join, if you haven't already, all of the rest of us in burning incredibly hot and bright and setting little fires all over the place for University Prep Academy. Thanks. So now back to the script. So it's my pleasure, and it really is. So if you are a teacher or a staff member at UPrep, can you raise your hand? So if you look around, all these incredible people, so many of them have been with us for 6, 7, 8, 9 years, and that's part of that community. My good friend Kenyatta Hill came in. She came in. She was an elementary school teacher. Was not sure she wanted to teach middle school, and said that a few times when she first came in. But what ended up happening was we really created a really strong partnership, and she continued to take on more and more leadership, and eventually moved into the assistant principal role, and now has been just doing a fabulous job as principal of University Prep Academy. So here's Kenyatta Hill.
Thank you, Daniel. So I don't know if Daniel read my script because I put that in there, so. Good evening, everyone. I would like to start off by thanking you for taking the time to be here tonight and for the continuous support over the past 10 years. I'm Kenyatta Hill, the principal at Grand Rapids University Preparatory Academy. I'm honored to be standing here today to share remarks about this major milestone for our school family. My UPrep story did not begin as one of the visionary CEOs, or I wasn't one of the many community activists who wanted to bring a change to the educational approach for the families of Grand Rapids. My start was not even one of the original staff members of the school. My story began in UPrep's second year as a novice teacher. I knew I was destined to be the best elementary teacher there ever was. And then I learned that I would be moving from Stocking Elementary and placed at UPrep. I was leaving first grade, and I was now going to be the 8th grade teacher. And I'm going to be honest, I had never taught middle school, and I didn't know anything about UPrep. I hadn't heard anything about UPrep, so I didn't know what was in store for me, and I was terrified. I can remember I was getting ready to go on a cruise, and my mom said, "You'll be okay. Just get through this year." But in the middle of the school year, I went to Daniel, the principal at the time, and told him, "I'm going to stay. I love UPrep. I love the new educational approach, and I love the UPrep family." I was inspired to look at my approach in education with a new innovative model that is intentional in connecting the students, parents, and the Grand Rapids community. And here I stand, 10 years later, leading this model with the same passion, but a lot more knowledge. Knowledge on creating a space that merges a private-public educational partnership through a unique school design while inspiring and impacting urban children who begin day one on the red carpet as they enter our UPrep family. The theme tonight, Connect the Pieces, really captures the meaning of the work this community has done at UPrep. Through the authentic relationships that are developed with peers and advisors through advisory class, to being able to provide a state-of-the-art building. And so when we chose this place, we knew that it would be directly looking this way. And if you look at that puzzle piece, that's our future gym there, looking directly at our building. By incorporating real-world concepts through projects and exploration, by embedding our Teen CEO program through internships, resume building, interview process, and college classes, we are creating the connections and making learning real. These pieces are uniquely designed to create a masterpiece. Thank you for the relentless work that you all have decided to take on. With your passion and efforts united together, we have started to connect the pieces for the students at Grupa to make a real change. And even though the work is not finished, I am so ever thankful. Let's continue to connect the pieces. Now, I get the pleasure to introduce another leader that is, like Daniel said, fully involved, on fire. The Grand Rapids community this leader has been leading the Grand Rapids community, changing life with so much passion and energy for all students in the Grand Rapids Public Schools. I have the pleasure of welcoming, who also hired me as assistant principal, and also then hired me as the principal, Ms. Teresa Weatherall-Neal, Superintendent of Grand Rapids Public Schools.
Well, good afternoon, good evening. First, I am so pleased to be standing here on this special occasion. It's hard to imagine 10 years. I am honored to be your superintendent of Grand Rapids Public Schools, but I'm especially honored to be standing here before you, celebrating 10 years. So many things happened behind the scenes that could have derailed us, you guys. More than we care to talk about. But we did it the Grand Rapids way. We stayed at the table. We did what was best for children, for our children. We did what was best for students. We made hard decisions. We fought hard. We stayed engaged. We began to build trust. We pushed each other. And look at us now, 10 years later. It is unbelievable, you guys. We never, ever took our eyes off the prize. My grandson, CJ, is one of our students here at UPrep, and who would have ever thought 10 years ago. I do want to thank, though, our board members, Dr. Wendy Faub, Dr. Tony Baker, Sunita Lanier, some of the Grand Rapids Public School board members. They could have said no, but they encouraged us to push. I started with this group right in the very beginning, but for some reason I had to step away for a couple years, but then I became your superintendent, and I was able to come back to the table. We knew that we had to change the relationship with public education, with our private partners. Grand Rapids Public Schools, 150 years old, and we decided we wanted to do business in a different manner. And that isn't easy. That isn't easy. It took people that were committed to this innovative thing we called UPrep. We didn't know what it was, but we knew that we wanted to have a private-public partnership. One, small schools, small class sizes, we wanted to be committed to that. We knew we wanted to have new facilities at some point, committed to that. I stand before you today now to tell you we have a wait list for UPrep. Parents are waiting to join this family, and that's great. We continued our small class size, our project-based learning. Everything we said we would do, we have been able to do it. But it isn't because of us. It's because of the private-public partnership. Milt talked about how many times they went to visit, and then they came back. Well, many of us went to visit. And now we are here, still committed to that. It is really a testament to the vision, people that saw this long before I became the superintendent. The resiliency, the grit. It's easy to go back to what we know, but we didn't do that. And so I want to thank not just the people that are here in this room, but back in the beginning, we had Jim Hackett, Steve Van Andel, Dan DeVos, Michelle Van Dyke, I saw Michelle somewhere here, Fred Keller, David Fry, Brian Cloyd, Wayman Britt, and last but not least, we had my John Kennedy, who kept pushing us, right, to do the right thing. You guys, it takes a community to make this happen for children. We can do it the Grand Rapids way, but again, we have to stay committed, we have to stay at the table, stay focused on the kids, and we can get it done. But before I pass this off to Kenyatta, I want to say on behalf of Grand Rapids Public Schools, my board members, our 3,000 staff members, and 17,000 students, thank you for giving us UPrep. Thank you for staying at the table, because you could have made other choices. You didn't have to make the choice to stay within the Grand Rapids Public Schools. You could have done a charter school. But we all decided we wanted University Preparatory Academy to be for all students and not take away from Grand Rapids Public Schools. And I thank you for believing in us. I'm glad that we were able to do this. People in the trenches, you guys, they care deeply about these children. But John, I want to talk about John just briefly. John didn't stop with UPrep. We now have 3 schools. We call them the John and Nancy Kennedy schools, because John came in even deeper with us. And that was to learn day in and day out how these children are living and what is it going to take. So for that, I want to say thank you to John and Nancy. Thank you for understanding, for being there with us. Again, they could have made different choices, you guys. They've stayed in there with us. UPrep wasn't enough. Pretty soon we'll have John in all of our schools. No, I'm just kidding. I want to say thank you for all of you for coming out tonight. Those of you that have been with us from the very beginning, I thank you. Daniel, thank you. And for Dr. Ron Gorman, who is here, I want to thank you, because it takes a village, you guys. We've had many, many meetings, Wayman and Brian, and just pushing back and forth in order to get us here for these kids. We have not only a 90% college going rate. You guys, these kids are staying in college. It's one thing to get them to college. It's something else to keep them there. The students that are graduating from University Preparatory Academy, they're staying. They're completing college. That in and of itself, we're doing something right. And we need to continue to push so we can spread this throughout the entire district so that all children can have this exact same opportunity.
John and I have a few things in common. We both went to and graduated from the same university, University of Detroit, Mercy. Daniel talked about the affiliation with the Jesuits, and I think those of you that know anything about the Jesuits, a religious order of thinkers, the thing that we have in common is that we were trained by some of the most brilliant people, thinkers, and one of the things that we learned is the value of social justice. And that really describes what John has added to this institution. The focus on education, thinking, and social justice. I'm excited to be part of this presentation, John. We are brothers of a different mother, as we've said frequently. And congratulations, John, on all the things you've done for our school and for our community.
Thank you. Okay. Very nice.
Congratulations, John.
Pictures of the 5 classes. So, obviously, thank you is the most important thing to say here. And sir, thank you for joining for the event. And certainly, I truly appreciate and humbled by the recognition. But as I look at this wonderful celebration of 10 years of Grupa, I have to think about all of the others that have really gotten us to this point. The CEOs, and I think very importantly, as I said to my brother when he talked to me about this, you know, Brian has been certainly the person who has really shaped this idea for all of us. And, you know, CEOs tend to travel at a very high level in terms of 30,000 feet. We rarely come down to ground where the work is actually done. And Brian was there to make sure that we continue to move this thing forward and I think negotiate us through some very, very difficult decisions and challenges that we had as a community trying to put this, all these pieces together. So certainly, I have to obviously recognize that Brian has been a big part of this, this success. And obviously the other group of board members, we don't have term limits, do we? Which might be a problem at some point in time. But you know, certainly everybody has been at this for a long time, really trying to make this school into this wonderful place, which is getting, helping our children achieve their dreams. So another group that I think obviously deserves recognition is the Grand Rapids Public School District. And you know, this isn't, in today, Grupa isn't quite as unique as it used to be, because this is, I think we were the first innovative approach, but we're not certainly the only. There are a number of other innovative programs where Grand Rapids Public Schools are trying to do things that serve all of our children throughout the district. And certainly, we would not be doing that, I think, as a district without Teresa. And what a great leader, and certainly a wonderful partner in this effort. And I doubt we would be celebrating our 10th year without the efforts of the Grand Rapids Public School District, the board members, the administration, and particularly the leadership of Teresa. So that's at a maybe, you know, more of a 10,000 foot level. Now we got to go to the ground. And actually, when you look at what's happened in these schools, I think it started from a leadership standpoint with Daniel. And he, as people mentioned, he was the principal, or he was working at University Prep in Detroit, and he transitioned over to the principal of Grupa. And Daniel was certainly an entrepreneurial leader. It's one of the things I really admire about Daniel, being an entrepreneur. And for the first 6 years, he was able to position the school, I think, for greatness. Daniel was followed up by Kenyatta Hill, who is a remarkable leader on her own, and when Daniel moved over to WMCAT. But Kenyatta has been a true blessing for this school. Her passion and drive for student outcomes is apparent in every decision she makes. And she knows exactly where every child is, every one of our students is academically, and she knows everything about what's going on in their families. And she can tell us the classes that need a little bit more work in some of these areas. And that, I mean, that was one of the things that occurred with the test prep program that we did. She had some classes identified that they needed some help in that way, and you know, she said that that's one of the things the association could do, and so that's what started that, initiated that kind of that action. So Kenyatta has been instrumental in helping all of our students achieve their dreams, and so what a blessing to our community and to all of our students. So as board members, we had certainly had an idea, but the idea would never have been possible without Daniel and Kenyatta's leadership, coupled with a truly dedicated group of teachers for our students. They deserve the true recognition as they are the leaders in the trenches each and every day to ensure our students have the knowledge they need to thrive in our society. Thank you to Daniel, Kenyatta, and the faculty for all your efforts. The school would not be successful today without your passion and leadership. And certainly thank you for the recognition tonight again. But one of the things that we have learned through this effort and the other work that we're doing with Grand Rapids Public Schools is this is the most valuable investment we've ever made from a philanthropy standpoint of our time and talent, our treasure. And it is by far the most rewarding, and obviously we don't do philanthropy to get rewarded, but when you see 90, and 100% of all those kids going to college for 5 years, even if we only had a small part in that, that is the most amazing thing to know how we've impacted those lives or potentially impacted those lives. And that, in my mind, is the greatest reward we get from all this. So thank you very much.
Now, we've all heard from many great leaders, but what this is really about, it's about the kids. And so I have the honor of introducing China Figures, a graduate of UPrep, and she's going to tell her UPrep story. And following after that, we will end off with our last remarks from Brian.
Good evening, everyone. I would like to thank the Grand Rapids Public Schools and the Grand Rapids University Prep Association for the opportunity to share my UPrep story. My story began when I walked into UPrep in the 6th grade to a red carpet as a fearful 6th grader. Ms. Hill was there yelling with excitement, sharing that the school year was going to be a great one. At that moment, I knew UPrep would be one of the best schools that I have attended. I knew many students did not get an opportunity to walk a red carpet and be greeted with many teachers that was happy that we were there. My sisters and I have all attended UPrep. My sister Alexis graduated with the class of 2016 and now is going to Grand Valley State University majoring in social work. My younger sister Shayna graduated with the class of 2018 and attends Muskegon Community College majoring in criminal justice as well as playing basketball for the women's team. I also have another younger sister who's in the 8th grade, and her name is Sky, and she will graduate in 2023. UPrep has had a big impact on my life. They work to prepare me for college by having students take high school courses in the 8th grade, AP courses, college courses, and even taking classes through a block schedule, which means classes were almost 2 hours long. I didn't understand then how that would help me to be successful today. It helped me transition into college with additional time with my teachers to receive help that I needed and the extra push to take my learning further. I began taking college courses in the 9th grade, and I graduated as a senior with 22 college credits. I am second year at Grand Valley State University and already at a junior standing. Ms. Hill, who was my social studies teacher at the time, always knew that I wanted to be a lawyer. So she did everything in her power to help me pursue my dreams. She assisted me by enrolling into early college criminal justice classes, which were held at UPrep, and even connected me with some lawyers that she knew personally. I had the opportunity to participate in a 2-year internship program that allowed me to explore the law field and opportunities available for me. I participated in the field experiences at Cooley Law School, Warner Norcross and Judd, and even the courthouse. I was able to take my skill sets and ability to argue, but I prefer to call it debating, and utilize them in the courtroom through a mock trial experience. It was these opportunities and connections that made me never want to leave UPrep and fueled my passion to pursue law. Another great opportunity that I received as a student at UPrep were exhibitions. Exhibitions are presentations all students 6th through 12th grade are required to do and provide students with a chance to reflect on their academics, goals, and accomplishments by presenting them in front of peers and parents. Students also complete many reflective projects that are presented during this time as well. In the 10th grade, we were required to take it up to the next level with the gateway presentation. And let me tell you, it was a very intense experience. We were required to have resumes, cover letters, community service hours, and even letters of recommendation. The amount of work we had to do for Gateway helped me improve my work ethic for college because everything had to be organized. There were so many rubrics that had to be followed, and the teachers held us to high expectations. We even had to make sure that we were dressed for success. The opportunities didn't stop there. I had the chance to be a part of the Grand Rapids Public Schools Superintendent Student Panel. We would meet every month to talk about the good things we saw throughout the different schools, and also the things we could improve upon. Being a part of the student panel allows students to have a voice and to share the different pieces we should see throughout the schools. Not only did I have a voice with the student panel, but also at UPrep as well. Everyone was always willing to listen to the different ideas and point of views many of us students had. We may not all have agreed on everything, but we were all heard. These experiences and connections helped me feel confident in advocating for myself and others. The final and most impactful part of my UPrep story that I would like to share is my long-term relationships with the students and faculty. They truly have become a part of my family. Maya Thompson is one of my good friends that I met at UPrep in the 6th grade. Maya received a full ride scholarship to Florida A&M, where she is majoring in business, and we still stay connected. Our future goal is to start a law business and own our own law firm, which is a plan that we created in the 6th grade. While we continue to pursue this dream, I know that UPrep will be a place that I can always come back to for mentorships, internships, and even words of encouragement. UPrep has always made me feel loved and capable. I know no matter how old we get, that we will still get that text and call from Ms. Hill, making sure that we are in school and chasing our dreams. Thank you for allowing me to share my UPrep story.
Isn't that amazing? These are, she's not an exception. You know, all these kids that are here today, I mean, they're the same. They're the same. Just wonderful, amazing, bright students that are looking to make their mark in the world. So thank you so much. Thank you. So to wrap up the evening, at an event like this, it's evidence that the kids are the center of the celebration. We celebrate 10 years of success. With the partnerships, we can continue to provide high-quality education, which was envisioned over a decade ago. The white sponsorship cards are your opportunity to continue to partner with us tonight. If you arrived with a checkbook, that's great, or a credit card. Your donation can be inserted in an envelope along with a white card for our recording purposes. If you'd like to receive an electronic invoice, we can be emailed to you with a secure link to provide a credit card number for billing purposes. But in order to invoice to be created, a dollar amount must be listed on the card. All cards can be inserted in the envelopes and left in the basket on your way out. So that's the pitch. Again, thank you for your attendance this evening. Please stay and mingle for as long as you want. Share stories, talk to the students. This is just a wonderful day for Grand Rapids Public Schools, for University Prep Academy, and onward and upward. Thank you.